road to the Olympia, world's strongest pro bodybuilder, 10 weeks out. Take you through and show you what I do for the workouts, get prepped for the competition. Come on. Okay. It's bench day today. I'm gonna do a little chest workout. Today will be a heavy day, but it won't be my flat press day. I'll train flat press about every third workout. If you want a big bench, don't bench every time you train. You got to bench big, and then you have to work your ancillary body parts doing inclines, dips, work your supporting muscle groups. And then you also have to have a speed day. So a big bench is going to require some explosive speed training as well. So today we're going to do ancillary exercises. We'll still do some heavy weights, but we won't be doing doubles. We'll try and work up to 5s to 10s. And we'll do a variety of different exercises that complement the flat bench press. That's what we're going to work on today. Everybody always asks me, how do I lift these weights at my age and this much weight and not get injured? And it's a whole process. It's really important that you warm up well, and that just includes putting a sweat on. I don't stretch aggressively right before I train because that can actually weaken your muscles and tendons. You stretch on a different workout so you can recover from that. So I'll go through just enough range of motion to be able to do the exercises I'm trying to do. I'll warm up and make sure I got a sweat on. I'll always use neoprene on my elbows and try and stay real warm. Depending on the temperature outside, I might wear a sweater or a pad or something just to stay warm. And then I get started real slow and real gradual and work my way up gradually in the weights to make sure I can handle all that weight. It's going to go a little slow at first here because we're going to work up to quite a bit of weight. I want to make sure that we don't stretch or pull anything. The only way I'm going to lift big at the Olympia is if I get there healthy. So I'll always train with these neoprenes on my elbows. Cold taffy breaks, warm taffy bends. So you got to keep those tendons pliable, keep them warm. I know sometimes as you see me do my big lifts on YouTube or obviously in competition, you got to take these off. But always when I'm training, I'm wearing these as much as I can. This is just a neoprene, so it doesn't, what I call crutch the joint. Sometimes folks will wear something a little heavier, which I do as well. But I won't wear them all the time because anytime you wear something really supportive gear like this, you can actually weaken a joint or weaken a muscle group. It's kind of like wearing a cast on your ankle or something. The muscle will atrophy and you'll actually get weaker. So I'd be cautious. I only use these as I get up to really heavy weights. Same with the wrist straps. I only use them when I get up to really heavy weights, when the muscle strength exceeds, the tendons and the flexors' ability to do the work. So we'll get warmed up real well. We'll just start with the bar. Do a modest stretch. I don't do anything aggressive here. I'm not trying to thin that muscle out and make it weak. I'm just trying to make sure I can go through the range of motion. Leo, come on over, let's roll this. My training partner, Leo Wells. 6 years now, I think we've been doing this together. What are you, pushing 50?
Strongest guys I know.
You pushing 50 now, Leo?
49. Kind of, body boy.
So we're both a couple of old guys. So yeah. We're hanging in there and we're healthy because, we train smart and we take care of our bodies and show you how we can lift some big weights and not get injured. It just requires that you pay attention all the time. It's a gradual process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So, knock on wood, I've never had any significant injuries. Occasional tendonitis when I try and push too hard. I got to be cautious and make sure I work up gradually. When you're getting ready for a big lift, or if you want to max out, all the big-time powerlifters will pyramid into that kind of a meet, meaning that they won't try and bench their max every single week. Pushing it up 5 pounds if they can here or there. They'll deload. They'll start, if I'm going to go bench a 600, I might start 10 weeks out benching, only going up to 500 for sets of 3 to 5, and slowly week over week add 10 to 15 pounds and gradually reduce the reps to 2s. And I might not even do a single until I get to the meet. That might be the first single I do. But it's called pyramiding or periodization, as a lot of folks in the industry like to call it. And we just try and gradually work ourselves up into a max. Otherwise, what happens is you overload your body, you're going to start dropping off. Almost everybody knows that when you try and max every week on the bench, it starts to dip. starts to get weaker, then you get frustrated. Whether I'm doing the bar or 135 or 2 1/4 or just working my way up, every rep, every set is the same. The bench press is initiated through the feet. It's an explosive movement that works through the whole body. If you just try and stand and push right here, you're not going to be very strong. But if you get your hips down and get your feet back and now try and push, you'll be real strong. It's the same on the bench press. You want to get your back arched, get your hips down, get your legs into the movement. You're actually starting the push for the bench press, starts from the feet. It pushes all the way up through the hips and then explodes through the chest. So as weights go up, I'll talk to you about setting your body up like a spring to actually coil up and explode. So what I'll do is I'll get into position, get the back arched, get the shoulder blades pinched together and down. I'll grab the bar and I'll initiate just a little bit of tension on the bar. I don't want somebody to lift out for me and then try and establish a base, because it's too late. You already lost your arch, you already lost your spring load. So when somebody lifts out, you should already have tension on the bar. Shoulder blades should be closer to your hips than if you were flat, and together and arched, so that when you take that weight, the spring's already loaded. And as you resist the weight on the way down, it's like a spring, and you should be able. It should come down to the base and just pop right up through the feet. Another thing that's important is that you resist on the way down with your lats. So you turn your elbows in just a little bit, and as the bar comes down, your lats are actually resisting by pressing against your tricep. Try that one time. If your arms are out here, there's nothing to resist. So when you get up to your heaviest weights, it's just going to come down like that and cause you to have to do twice as much work. Resistance with the chest on the way down, press with the chest on the way up. What I'm doing here is I'm resisting with the back on the way down. I haven't even begun to activate my chest yet on the down movement. I'm resisting with the back, and then I explode. This is for a max effort, max bench press. We're not talking about what we do pre-contest to stimulate the most muscle tissue for bodybuilding. This is about power training, about getting as strong and lifting as much weight as you can. That's the technique we're going to be focusing on between now and the Olympia. This is my bag of tricks. I refer to them as gimmicks. And as I slowly work up in weight, I add a new gimmick about every set. Throw some chalk on. As we get heavier, we'll add a belt. We'll add some wrist straps. And we'll just keep working our way up. Now on the base, you're getting your feet underneath you. They're not out here. They're not, wobbly. They're underneath you because I'm going to be driving through the feet, through the hips. It'll be a drive. I'll push off. But instead of my body going up, the weight will go up. Now I'm going to drop. Some people push off the bar to try and get my shoulder blades down close to my hips. Get a good arch. And then I'm pinching my shoulder blades together on the bench. And then I'll put tension on the bar. That locks me into position. If I let go of the tension on the bar, look what happens if my chest caves in. My chest caves in, and my back flattens out against the bench. I'm losing that spring-loaded quality that allows me to push through my feet. If my chest is caved in and my back's against the bench, I'm not going to be able to explode through the feet. So I stay locked in here, pick off, stay nice and tight. If you're trying to do a max lift, it's important not to get a pump in the muscle. It sounds contrary to bodybuilding, but this is about power training. Muscle fibers, they slide across each other like this as they expand and contract. Now if you get those full of blood, they start swelling, it's harder to slide those fibers across each other. Makes it harder to lift your max weight. So we're not shooting for a pump. So when I'm warming up, all I'm trying to do is make sure my muscles can feel the load gradually until I get to my max. But I'm not trying to put a pump in there. I won't do 10 reps. I'll do 3s, 2s, just to gradually make sure I'm allowing my body to compensate slowly to the load so I don't pull or tear anything. Another way to do that is good rest period. Let that lactic acid dissipate, let the muscle completely recover, get all your oxygen back. And that might take 3 minutes between sets. As you get heavier, it might take longer. You might spend 5-6 minutes between a set to be able to get 100% of your strength back so you can make the big lift. There's a mental aspect to this too. The lighter the weight feels, the stronger you're going to be. Sometimes I'll do 135 again, or I'll do 2 1/4 again. It's the first time you do it, you're kind of feeling it, your body's stretching out. You're just getting used to the range of motion, finding your groove. Second time you do it, the thing just explodes out of your hands. That's the mental part that allows you just to keep progressing. And as long as you don't have a limit mentally, you shouldn't have a limit physically. See, I explode those reps with a lot of speed. And I also have a speed day where I train just for that. And the reason being is that when we get up to a 500 or 600 pound press, you're not going to be able to tricep lock that thing out. You need to build as much momentum as possible. The faster that thing comes off the chest, the more momentum you can build, then you can decelerate on the lockout, which is going to happen anyhow because there's so much weight. But you're going to want to always develop a lot of speed. Powerlifting out of every lift, whether it be the squat, deadlift, or the bench, you got to come out of the hole hard and strong because finishing that lift is going to be easier if you explode out of the base. Now, I know you really shouldn't need a pick-off on 2 1/4, but like I said, when I'm training, I try and do every set the same. And I want to have my body all coiled. I don't want to, when I pick off, I want to be already in position. I don't want to be up here trying to pick the weight off and then try and wedge myself into position. Set my feet, my shoulder blades together, grab the weight, applying a little bit of tension. The weight's coming off just a little bit, applying a little tension. I keep that tension on so that my shoulder blades stay in position. Leah will bring that out to me. Go. And now my body never moved. So when I start to coil up, like the spring explode right through the feet. Didn't have to reset anything. This little gimmick right here. When I was training at Super Training Gym down in Sacramento with Mark Bell, big time powerlifting coach and powerlifter himself, I had just come off competing in the Masters Nationals, and I was down to probably 255 after all the photo shoots and whatever. And I was all dried out and really low body fat and lean, and I went in there and immediately I started trying to lift heavy. And the first thing that happened is when I got in and started lifting heavy is I started getting tendonitis, and I had forearm flexor tendonitis, I had elbow tendonitis, I had bicep tendonitis. I was going to the chiropractor and I was doing icing and getting deep tissue massage and electric stem. Tough time. I thought I was going to have to drop out. Well, Mark Bell comes up with this deal, and what this is I showed you those thick elbow wraps that are made out of knee wrap material, just like these, but they're made out of a really sturdy, strong knee wrap material. Well, that's what this is right here. And so you pull this up over your elbow, and this is an extremely tough material. When it bends, it gives you a lot of help. Well, then he connected the two with the same kind of material right here. So now not only am I getting less tendon strain when I'm bringing the weight down to its fully stretched position, but also across the chest. You'll notice when Leo was lifting, I'm getting less impact on the pec and the shoulder. Most of the injuries occur in the bottom position. That's when you're most stretched, when your body's the most compressed and your shoulders and chest are completely stretched out and are under the max load. Plus the fact that force is mass times acceleration, and a lot of people will bring that weight down quickly. So the force at the bottom is multiplied by the speed at which you descend the weight. So if you're bringing that down fast, you can imagine at full stretch, at full momentum from that weight, that's where the injuries are going to occur. And you're going to start getting problems with your shoulder and your pec and your elbow tendons on that compression at the very bottom. This eliminated that. It decelerated the weight. It makes the weight lighter at the bottom than it is at the top. At the top you got full weight. Down here it might be 50 pounds lighter as a result of this thing absorbing the weight. Kind of like wearing a bench shirt, but it's something you can put in your bag. This is an old prototype model that he made for me last year. It was the first one he made. And he made it for me to help me get through that rigorous training regimen, and it worked. My tendonitis eased up. I was able to still train heavy, but it's an effective tool, and I use it. And I brought one in for Leo to use because he was having some shoulder problems, and now he can still bench heavy and not have those shoulder pains or the tendonitis in the elbows, because where all that strain occurs is now being assisted by that material. Try and make every set the same. Make 405 look like 135. Every set the same. The goal here is to get warmed up nice and gradual, so you're not putting the undue pressure on the tendons and the joints. And the muscles get used to the load, so that when we get heavy, they aren't surprised by it. And that's how we avoid injury. Sometimes I gotta switch gears if I feel any twinges or any pain, and move to a different exercise, or just not go heavy that day. I gotta constantly listen to my body. Can't train hurt, and you can't compete hurt. So we're just constantly pushing ourselves right up against the limit while staying healthy, so we can get to the meet, 100%, and do the best we can. It's one dumb day and one injury, can blow the whole event for you. Another gimmick. Tying the shoe is another gimmick. Drive comes from the feet. So on this set, we want to have everything in play. We want to have it from head to toe. We want to have our wraps tight, our chalk heavy, our belt tight. Everything's in play. Leo, we got to put a little 2.5 on there, $4.95. So doesn't sound as good as 500. I didn't know what these were for the longest time. I thought they were like coasters for your cups, but I didn't know nobody actually use these things. It just sounds better to say 500. See how important the groove is on that one? See that third rep went way out of the groove. Came out in front of me instead of up and back. A lot out. Do some incline dumbbell press. I know a lot of folks that finish bench press and come to do incline, start running the rack. I do the 80s for 10, the 90s for 10, the 100s for 10. I'm gonna work up to one set here. It's what I call max effort sets or growth sets. I think my old school upbringing back in the mid 80s was always trying to get the most out of my sets. See that 500 still kind of winded me. So I go from a flat press to an incline press, or an incline bar today to an incline dumbbell. And again, I use this because it requires so much balance and coordination that it helps you stay in your groove. You notice on the third rep of that 500 incline, I wasn't in my groove. I came out here, and it took a lot to pull that back in. It was a long, struggling rep. This kind of exercise helps you stay in your groove. It works on all those surrounding muscle groups that pull and push against each other to keep you balanced. So I like the free weights, I like the balancing exercises. But I don't run the rack again. I don't come off of a bench for an incline press and go to 80s and then the 100s and the 120s and the 140s. It's a waste of time. I mean, if I do 80s for 10 and I could have done it for 30, what benefit am I going to get out of that? So I like to grab weights that I actually get some results from, what I call growth sets or max effort sets. And do something that'll actually overload my system. If you want to get results, you got to overload your body, and you can't do it by doing endless reps and sets of weights that don't cause your body to overload and adapt. So I'll jump on a 140 for 6 or so reps just to feel the weight one time because I'm going real heavy here. I'll go up to 200s, and I got to be able to gauge this. Most clubs, that's about all you get. They might only go up to 120s or 140s if you're lucky, and in which case you might have to pre-exhaust, or your partner might have to push down on them, or you might have to do flies if you get past there. I bought these and brought them in because I wanted to challenge myself. These are always a challenge. Like I said earlier, you got to be in it mentally, because if you don't have it mentally, you're not going to have it physically. Hardest part about these is just kicking them up, getting them into position. I only show the videos where I actually succeed at that, but I think currently it's about a 50% failure rate. Just trying to kick them up. Sometimes they get out of whack and fall. And so today we'll show whatever happens. We'll see if I can get it on the first try. If not, you just try again. If something doesn't rip off your body, that's all you can do. These are 210 pounds. We got 20 10-pound plates, 10 on each side, and a 10-pound bar. Ready? Yeah. It's gonna go right out here. That's good. This is how it all starts.
Come on, Sam. Tight up, tight up. Tighten up.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Come on, rep it. Come on, Sam.
You keep the noise down over there. I'm trying to concentrate. Whew. Yeah, I got out of whack there a little bit. Thanks, Leo. That's fun shit right there. That's fun stuff. I told you, if an arm didn't tear off, that'd be pretty cool to watch. Of course, it'd be pretty cool to watch the arm tearing off too. Close grip.
Okay.
Bench press. That's a max effort set. That's what I'm talking about. If you do it like that, there's no way you're running a rack. You can't do anymore. That's the way that Mike Menser used to do it. That's the way Dorian Yates did it. You get results from a set like that. Now, I talked about doing max effort sets and growth sets. What's heavy to you is what works. Don't worry, because you're not incline pressing the 200-pound dumbbells, you're not going to grow. If 100 is that hard to you, you're going to grow from 100. It's about overloading your body and what your capabilities are and continually pushing that envelope, pushing those limits. Get in here and break down the muscle tissue, get out, eat and recover. I don't like to spend more than an hour in the gym. Running a little long today because it took me so long to warm up. But this will probably be our last exercise because I want you guys to see what I actually do. I don't want to try and, dress it all up for the camera. But normally I'd be walking out of here right about now, except I took a 40-minute warm up on that bench press. So I'm gonna throw in a couple of tricep exercises here. Just one, just a close grip press. I got plenty of work on that incline bench and on that dumbbell press. My muscles will be sore, broken down, get stronger over the next few days. So we'll finish off these triceps, make sure they're challenged as well. Same thing on tris, growth set. I'm just gonna feel a couple reps, make sure that the tendons are comfortable with the movement. And I'm gonna do 1 or 2 sets as heavy as I can go, as hard as I can go with a spot, and I'll be done. Show you a little trick on these. A lot of times when you do close grip press, you get some little twinge in the elbow, get some tendonitis, feels shitty at the bottom. And the reason for that is when you grab the bar traditionally, look at where my elbows are pointing. They're pointing out here. If you want to drop those elbows in so that when you come down they're close to the body, you got to change your grip as well. So don't try and grab the bar here and then just force your elbows in. That's going to cause that tendonitis problem. Rotate your grip slightly. Instead of the bar laying straight across your calluses, I'll rotate my hand slightly so that the bar rests here on the pad of the hand. I'll show you when I set up for the next set. We'll get a closer grip, a closer look at the camera. Rotate my hand slightly, rotates my elbow in. Now when I come down, the elbow's in line, no more tendonitis. One challenge with that rotated grip is that your spotter really needs to do all of the lift off, because you're pretty strong here. As soon as you rotate that grip, it almost feels more like a French press coming off of here. There's no way you can French press 315 and 405 off the rack. So your partner has to bring that weight out to you, so it's sitting out here for the pressing movement. So here's your traditional grip. Right here, just right across the calluses. All I'm trying to do is rotate my hand just a little bit so that my elbow, see how my elbow comes in now, from here to here. And the bar sits on the pad of my hand. Now I'm already my elbows are already in a close grip position. All right, Leo. 1, 2, up. And that hits my triceps pretty good. I think that's about it for me. Remember I said I like to get in and out of the gym in an hour. If you take one thing from this video, the thing I want you to take is that you don't grow in the gym. All you do in here is break down muscle tissue. You do not build muscle in the gym. You can't lift more often, longer, and expect to get results. Your goal in here is to break down the muscle tissue as quickly as possible, because you grow during the recovery phase, eating and sleeping. I'll talk a lot about that in this video, because that's where all of my results have come from. It's an extraordinary discipline to the recovery phase. Take that from this, if nothing else. Anybody who has problems growing is invariably training too much and eating and sleeping too little. You swap those around, train less, eat more, you're gonna grow and get stronger every day. I know this is a power training video. I'm talking about training for what is essentially a powerlifting meet at the Mr. Olympia. But it is dubbed the world's strongest pro bodybuilder. And I know that's part of what my opponents like to squawk about, is that I'll come rolling in there at 300 pounds, all fat and happy, and outlift them while they're supposed to stay lean and mean. So even at 290 plus, I'm not getting sloppy. My diet's still in check, and I'm staying in shape. So it's not all just about powerlifting. I'm gorging myself, and getting all hideous. That's it. It's no Phil Heath, but I'm not going to get out of shape. I'm going to go in there strong and fit and represent the world's strongest pro bodybuilder with respect.